win it tonight. That's 3 in a row for your Milwaukee Bucks. 105-99 over the arch nemesis. This should have been, could have been in an NBA rivalry week game. Bucks winning 105-99 over the Indiana Pacers. Come on in the room. Doc is our doctor, right? He gives us our medicine in our room. We are live. It's Creamsicle across the guru. Just me. Solo Guru tonight. You're in for a treat. You're in for a treat. It's Solo Guru tonight. Come on in the room. Bucks win it. Man, feels good. Feels good to be on a win streak. Feels great to be on a win streak. Come on in the room. I apologize in advance for any technical difficulties we may have tonight. I apologize in advance for any issues with the broadcast, with the program, as I am by myself solo tonight. No production, triple-double, no assist on the track. 105-99. Bucks beat the Indiana Pacers. Chris King out doing some stuff with the family. JT doing stuff with the family. Justin is out. I believe he's on a flight. So he's out tonight too. But just like Giannis is out, just like Torian Prince is out, just like Kuz is out. But we're going to find a way to get this thing done. We find a way to win. We're going to find a way to finish. And that's what the Milwaukee Bucks did tonight. 105-99. Come on in the room. Get us in the chat. Get us in the chat. Get at us on the YouTube, as in the YouTube chat. Get at us on the Twitter at TCIIYEEE. We'll read your comments. We'll talk about this thing. Appreciate you, Will Lundquist in the building. Daniel Berry, Sports Highlight in the building. James Moore, as always, in the building. And like James Moore always tells you to do, come on in the room. Hit that like button before you get comfortable and sit your ass down. Let's do this thing, ladies and gentlemen. 105-99 Bucks beat the Indiana Pacers. Fun night tonight. 3 in a row. Hey, I don't know. Somebody, you tell me. You tell me. You line the Hornets up, line the Bucks up. I know the Hornets have won, 9 in a row? Don't get me to calling it. I know the Hornets might be the Killer Bees, might be the hottest team in the association, but the Bucks are right on their tail with 3 in a row. You got Orlando twice coming up here next week. And don't forget, not only is that 3 in a row for your Milwaukee Bucks, not only is that 3 in a row for your Milwaukee Bucks, that is also 3 wins in 4 nights for your Milwaukee Bucks. So that's impressive what the Bucks are doing. Oh, by the way, they're extremely shorthanded. So I'm going to give the Milwaukee Bucks some credit for these wins tonight. Could have been easier, could have been better, could have been. The Bucks are up 15-20. Basically, once you got out, it was the first quarter here. First quarter is 29-23, but after second quarter is a 31-18 win. The Bucks are basically up 15, 20 points all throughout the game. And that fourth quarter, Nembhard really started to come on. Bucks started to get on the rim, started to tighten a little bit in the five-serve. Appreciate you, Pop Sharp in the building. Grady Crowder 2386. I see you holding down Solo tonight. Appreciate you guys joining. But yeah, the rim started to get a little tight in the five-serve. And things got tense. But Ryan Rollins stepped up, got to the basket, had a nice jump shot there in the fourth. I think got down to like 4 points or something. Rollins hits a bucket. KPJ then starts going crazy. Gives you the KPJ layup package alert in the building. And then Bobby hit a couple threes in the fourth, and you close this thing out like you're supposed to. Will Lindquist, I agree. No BS excuse about tired legs. And that's how you know it's all an excuse. That's how you know it's 100% an excuse when we're talking about tired legs and this and that. No, you go out and you win. You win games. Like, I get sick of Doc giving all those excuses, man. Go out, execute, win basketball games. That's what you saw tonight from your Milwaukee Bucks. Let's do it. Let's do a game recap tonight for your Bucks. Rebounding the story of this basketball game. Let's start with Jericho Sims. 4 points tonight, 15 boards. I think he had 10 rebounds at halftime, something like that. 4 assists for Sims, 2 blocks, 2 for 3 from the field, a +9 on the night. Jericho Sims, maybe, dare I say, his best game as a Milwaukee Buck. Jericho Sims tonight, I didn't know if I was watching Jericho Sims. I know I watched his Hornets line, or was I watching Musa Diabate? I didn't know who I was watching. Tonight was like the most coordinated You see, Jericho Sims gets his hands on basketballs all the time. He's flailing around. He's a high flyer. He's very athletic, but he at times misses the coordination part of things, the hand-eye coordination, and he fumbles around the basketball. Tonight, he grabbed every ball, no turnovers, was strong. That's all you got to do. Nobody's asking you. Do as Justin always says, play to the front of your card and the back of your basketball card. Jericho Sims' basketball card says high flyer, athletic, rebounder, finisher. That's what he did. He had one block. He reminded me of Larry Sanders, blocking shots off the backboard tonight. Like, that's 4 points. And, everything Jericho Sims did was excellent. Didn't have any of those screens where he gets called for those illegal screens. Some of them just because he's bigger than guys. But that's what you want to see from Jericho Sims. So I was proud, especially at his lineup. The Sims starting over Bobby. I kind of was like, okay, I don't know how this is going to work out. But Sims played very well tonight. Miles Turner, 9 points. But the most impressive thing about Miles Turner, 10 rebounds. That's all we want. He was a plus 11. That's all we want. Go up. When you finish, when you take your juice, take your lemonade. You don't pour it in a glass. You're in your own home. You open that sumbitch up, you drink it right out of the container, you put it back, and you two-hand shove that refrigerator door closed. And that's what Miles Turner did. I ain't calling him Moesha. That's what Miles Turner did tonight. I appreciate it. AJ Green, 14 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists tonight. 5 of 14 for the field, 4 of 12. But that's fine. That's fine. I want you shooting that ball. And tonight, what I liked most about AJ Green was not just the fact that he went out there and hit shots, because that's what he does. But how many times was it off the dribble tonight? It wasn't just a set shot. He had one, I believe it was in the second quarter, where he gets the ball, there's a screen going on in front of him, wasn't really there. He gives you a little dribble, a little in and out, step back, boom. That's what I want to see from AJ Green. Those kinds of plays. And I enjoyed it. But then your two catalysts who led the way tonight. Kevin Porter Jr., 23, 7, and 8, 3 steals. 10 of 20 from the field. Didn't hit a 3, so the 3 ball has kind of hit the 3 ball for KPJ has kind of come to a halt just a little bit from where he started early in the season. But he made tons of plays, 8 assists, got himself to the basket, is spectacular around the rim. And again, when KPJ's not turning the ball over, he's a pretty good player. He's a pretty good player. Now, in the fourth quarter, like I said, the rims but they got tight on everybody. Again, AJ Green was 5 of 14. I bet he missed 4 or 5 shots in the fourth quarter. The rims just tightened up on him, and KPJ had the same effect. Ryan Rollins was almost the opposite. 9 of 19. He was 22 points, 4 of 4, 4 of 8 from the 3 ball. Ryan Rollins is the opposite. He started off slow, missing a ton. I think he started off 3 for 10, couldn't hit the side of a backboard. But he got hotter as the game went on. So you have 40. What's that? 45 points from your backcourt. I'll take that. Don't let anybody tell you that KPJ is not a winning player. He is. He can be out of control at times. He can start to shoot a little too much. He can over dribble. But he's 25, 26 years old. Give him that same grace. And we do this KPJ Rollins stuff all the time. They are both good young players. Rollins is a little bit younger, and so so I think we appreciate him a little more. He has a more NBA modern game. KPJ is a more hezzy tween guy, but you need all of that. This team needs talent, and the talent has to shine. And we talked about it throughout the course of the season when the Milwaukee Bucks. That's why I hate all this is KPJ versus Rollins. Sometimes I get suckered into it too, but this KPJ Rollins, it's got to stop. We are at our best. The Milwaukee Bucks are at their best when both of those guys are playing good basketball, and that's what you saw tonight. At times, sometimes it was together, sometimes it was separate. But again, I really like that fourth quarter where Indiana makes their run, Nembhard starts going crazy, and then it was Rollins, bang, KPJ, bang, and you just start rolling with both of those guys leading the way. Gary Trent Jr., 7 points, 2 assists, 1 rebound. He has found his game a little bit, folks. 3 of 5 from the field. He's 0 2 from 3, but he's starting to play much, much better. Much better. I mean, he was a net negative for large stretches of the season, and over the last 4 or 5 games or whatever it is, Gary Trent has started to figure this thing out. Bobby Portis, 21 and 6. Bobby Portis survives another trade deadline, 9 of 18, 3 of 7 from 3, and just does what he does off the bench. And Listen, we got to give credit to Doc Rivers. I know it's the easy thing to come in and trash Doc Rivers all the time, but we got to give credit to Doc Rivers because the thing any regular person with any basketball knowledge says, okay, Giannis is out, Kuz is out, your bigs, you're starting Bobby, right? That's got to be the game plan. And no, you realize you need the scoring punch off the bench because you have AJ Green, you have Miles Turner, you have KPJ, Ryan Rollins. You need somebody to come off the bench and be able to produce. And Bobby Portis does that tonight. Again, he got to the point where he was shooting a little too much. But again, he hits the threes when you needed them, and they were big. I thought Pete Nance was good tonight. 5 points, 2 of 3, 101 from 3. I didn't know how many times he shot. I think I could have maybe found some more buckets for him, or at least more attempts for him. But 18 minutes of action. And again, I just can't find anything negative to say about what Pete Nance does. Like, he seems to be always in the right spots. He seems to give the effort on both ends. He seems to play like a smart basketball player. And he hits shots when they're there. He doesn't overdo it, doesn't look to do too much. He plays within his role. We call that on the football field. You talk about do your 111. Do your 111. And that just means you are one individual. You can't go out and play everybody's position. You can't think that, oh, I'm Pete Nance, and I know Sims is not going to make this play, so I got to do it for him. I know that Miles Turner's going to be in the wrong spot, so I got to No. You do your job, and everybody else has to do their own jobs. And Pete Nance does to me, he's one of those guys. I think KPJ can get it to the point where he starts doing too much. I think sometimes Rollins can start to do too much. Bobby Portis, we know, can start to do too much. Pete Nance plays within his role at all times. Good job. Gary Harris was out there running around. Not bad. Again, and here's the thing, he was net neutral. And that's the difference when you get rid of guys like Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony go out and lose you games. And again, Gary Harris not the best player in the world at all. He's a lot of teams he probably doesn't get in. He's probably a DNP CD. But on this Milwaukee Bucks team, Gary Harris's job, he is tasked with going out there and just playing even. Be where you're supposed to be defensively. Stick your head in there where you need to. Grab a rebound somewhere. Get a couple assists. Knock down the occasional 3. He was 0 for 2 tonight. 0 for 3 on the field, 0 for 2 for 3. But I was fine with Gary Harris. No Thanasis. No, I think everybody wanted to see Jang. Everybody wanted to see Usman Jang. And again, I got to give it to Doc Rivers because I think that, again, common knowledge would say you play Jang. You want to see what Jang. Everybody wanted to see what Jang got. No Kuz. Got a lot of guys. Let's see what Jang has. But that would have put him in a really bad position. And I didn't think about it till I realized, okay, he's not going to play at all. But it would have been a disservice and he's a young player. He's just been traded from OKC, a team where you're contending for a title, to a team where you are on the outside of the play-in. You're in the play-out looking in, and everybody wants to see what you could do. You haven't had a cup of coffee yet you don't even know what the inside of the locker room looks like yet. And it would have been a disservice to put him in the game. He doesn't know any of these guys. He hasn't played with them. He hasn't gone through a walkthrough. He knows nothing about this basketball team. So to put him in for 15 or 20 minutes, have him run around, and then, because if he didn't look good, then, you're sitting there with your pants down. So, originally I was like, man, I want to see what he's got to do or what he can do. But it was a smart move not to play him. Now, again, I think you do want to incorporate him. I don't think you want him to be a DNP CD all the time. But once he gets up to speed and has a knowledge of what's going on, I think you'll get him in there. But I think that was the right call not to play him tonight. And Doc Rivers did make the right decision. Pascal Siakam, 19.6 rebounds, 4 assists, 7 of 19 from the field, 1 of 8 from 3. Now, the guy, we just talked about Jericho Sims. We talked about rebounding. The other thing I didn't talk about, defensively, Jericho Sims was awesome. Jericho Sims had Pascal Siakam in a blender. He had him locked up. I was so impressed, not just with how Jericho Sims played, getting rebounds, but he stayed in front. He didn't commit silly fouls, and he made Pascal Siakam's life very difficult tonight. It was a difficult shot diet for Pascal Siakam. How many turnovers? He had 2 turnovers. I thought he had more, but I thought he did a really, 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 really good job on Pascal. Huff, trash. I remember he was the Indiana fans were, oh, Jay Huff's better. He only makes $6 million. He's better than Miles Turner. Yeah, you saw. That's why I went out and got Zubac. Because Jay Huff's not that guy, pal. He's not that guy, pal. Aaron Neesmith, 12 points. Nembhard was terrible for the first 36 minutes of this game. He was downright awful, disgusting. And Nembhard, in typical Andrew Nembhard fashion, goes out and he's a buck killer. He did in the playoffs, and all of a sudden I think he had like 17 points in a row for Indiana. I mean, I can't remember when he finished. We finished with 22. I think he had like 15 or 17 in the fourth. He was a non-factor until that fourth quarter. TJ McConnell had 8 points and 6 assists. Shepard with 6 points. Cam Jones back in the 5-serve, 2 points tonight. But it was a good win for your Milwaukee Bucks, man. It was a good win for your Milwaukee Bucks. And I don't know where you guys fall on whether you want the Bucks to tank for a pick or not just for the pick, but maybe for the opportunity to use that pick as draft capital to convince Giannis to stay in Milwaukee. I don't know what, and the best thing for the team to do is to tank and go the opposite direction. But that's not what the Bucks are going to do. And that's not what Giannis wants to do. And again, this is just an example. And I'm not blaming Giannis for anything at all. It's his competitive nature. I feel bad now. I'm about to start getting a little negative after the Bucks just won 3 games in a row. But the Bucks this just shows you how committed they are to their superstar and doing what their superstar wants to do, even if it's the opposite of what makes sense for the basketball team as an organization. Because I think we all, or at least the majority of us, would look at this thing and say, the Bucks should probably let the season go. This team's not going to win a championship. Let it go and try and get the best pick as you can. But Giannis says, I want to come back. Giannis says, I don't want to waste time. I want to be playing for something. Even if what I'm playing for is the play-in, I want to play for that. And the Bucks go do what Giannis wants them to do. Remember, Windhorst said, they're going to shut him down. Giannis isn't getting shut down. Matter of fact, I would not be surprised. Bucks have 3 games left before the All-Star break. 2 games against Orlando, 1 against OKC. I would not be surprised if you see him in one of those games. Would not be surprised. Chris Haynes said he thinks Giannis is going to play in the All-Star game. Would not be surprised if he's out. He is a competitor. That's what he wants to do. And if that's what he wants to do, the Bucks are going to go for it. Now, whether they get there or not, that's on them. We'll see what happens. But the Bucks want to go for this. For whatever go for this means, that's what they're going to do. And yeah, Clayton says, F that tank. That's what it looks like. Let me get back to the super chat here. I saw a super chat. My bad, NYC. I'm solo tonight. Solo guru. I might miss some stuff. NYC Randy says, I'm so conflicted. I love when the Bucks win. I love when the Bucks win, but I also think the smart move is to tank. Everything comes down to this summer. A high pick is better and will benefit us more for the future with GA. And that's what we're talking about here. Is what's the best option? What should you do? And I agree. NYC, the best. I don't disagree. The smart move is to tank. There's no question the smart move is to tank. There's no question the smart move for the Milwaukee Bucks as a basketball organization is to tank and let this season go. Everything does come down to the summer. You're absolutely right. But that's not what Giannis wants. And it just goes to show, and that's why I hate this narrative that the media has run with, that the Bucks have not put the Giannis in the best position. Giannis, and he's love him, it's to a fault. He is an impatient guy. But remember we were talking about gap year, and we should have had a gap year, and Giannis didn't want a gap year. Giannis got impatient with AG. Giannis got impatient with Mike Budenholzer. Giannis is getting impatient with this season. And again, but he loves the Milwaukee Bucks. You know it. He loves the Milwaukee Bucks to his core. But he wants to win. He wants to play something. He to where he can't even take it. He loves Greece to his. He can't take a summer off. Can't do it. He's so, and again, the gift of that is he's going 100% at all times. The curse is, I'd love to tell him, hey, let's slow down. Let's think about this. But he cannot do it. And the Bucks won't do it. And so that's why they've made the moves that they made. That's why they went out and got Damian Lillard. That's why they then went out and waived and stretched Damian Lillard to go get Miles Turner. That's why they went out and that's why they made all the moves they've made have been to try. They've been robbing Peter to pay Paul to try to keep this thing rolling. And some of that is the reason they're in the position they're in now. Now, again, injuries a big part of that. Injuries a huge part of it. But that's where things are. That's where things stand. And again, that's what the Bucks are going to do. So I'm with you. It makes sense to tank, but they're not going to do it. And so, again, I say we get behind it. And if they lose, they lose. But if they win, who knows, man? Let's run it out and see what it is. But I do like seeing our young guys play well. Dustin Wagner says more than likely the Bucks are going to play to keep getting wins, and if they are around 500 when they hit 35 losses, they will push. If they are not, they will tank. But tanking never works ever. I won't say it never works ever. It works if you're lucky. It works sometimes if you're lucky. And you have to have some draft luck. And sometimes it works when you take. Sometimes it works when you don't tank. And so I've never been a fan of intentionally tanking. That's why you let the season play out and see what happens. But you have 3 wins in a row. The Bucks are looking better. And again, we said this on the other broadcast the other night. We said, Giannis, I hope he's watching. I really do hope that he's looking. Lag says a freak to a fault. Exactly. I really do hope he's watching. And not that he has to play different, but in some ways he does. The modern NBA is not built for one guy to run the show at all times. You've got to move the basketball. And I thought the Bucks did a really good job of that throughout the game. And Giannis when he gets back, the ball can't stop. We talked about the other night. What happens a lot of times, Giannis gets there, the ball stops a little bit. And again, he's still going to get his numbers, but it's what happens outside of that. And even when he's, because again, he's still passing the ball. It's not like he's selfish. He's trying to rack up 8, 9, 10 assists, but it comes when he's back to the basket, and now he's holding it, and everybody's standing around looking because you don't want to clog the paint. So everybody's standing around looking, and guys can't get into a rhythm like that. It's very hard to get into a rhythm. Elijah, I'm not saying he doesn't move the ball. I'm saying at times the ball does not pop like it popped at times tonight. Like it popped at times over this 3-game win streak. The ball doesn't always pop. Not saying you're not moving it. I'm not saying he's black hole Giannis, but the ball has to still pop. And when I see Rollins, KPJ's an over dribbler too, but when I see the ball's pop, 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 and we're moving and we're cutting and pop, 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 and we're trying to, and sometimes when it happens to Giannis, guys start standing around 3-point line, and you start waiting. And it's like, all right, let's see. Okay, here's the double. Here's the pass. All right, we're open. Let's get a shot. And the ball's got to move. And you're right. The ball did stick some tonight. I thought in the fourth quarter, guys started pressing. I did think that. But I thought for the most part, again, the Bucks were up 20 for the majority of the night. It didn't. And the guys did a really good job of hitting shots, playing within themselves. And then defensively, I thought they were really, really good, even if there were some moments where Nembhard kind of got to himself and started playing really well. Let's see. Indiana was 12 of 43 from 3. Bucks were 13 of 43 from 3, shooting 46% from the field. Indiana shot 43% from the field. You look at the rebounding numbers. Indiana 37. Bucks had 48 rebounds tonight, which was big. Bucks had 13 offensive rebounds. Only gave up 5 offensive rebounds. Again, they were just so much better on the boards tonight. You look at Indiana's rebounding bigs. Between Siakam and Huff, they had 9 rebounds, 6 and 3. You look at the Bucks starting power forward and center. Sims and Turner combined for 25. So 9 to 25 between your starting 4 and 5 with Sims and Turner. Yes, Mark Gomes, they are 5 and 14 without Giannis. That's 3 wins. But they were 2 and 14 without Giannis, and now they're 5 and 14. So King Kings, the ball. Yeah, I agree. The ball was moving until the 4th, and I think what happened. And here's the thing: I think the ball moved in the 4th quarter. I'd love to go back and watch that. I think the ball moved in the 4th, and because I remember one where it's a beautiful. I think KPJ got it to AJ Green, the corner one. Beautiful start of 4th quarter possession, clank. And then you get another good possession, clank. And When that starts to happen, you miss a couple in a row, and then KPJ missed. When you start to miss a couple in a row with good ball movement, and again, I think they started to press. I think they started to press just a little bit. And Marco says it does matter who you play. Sure, but the Bucks are losing to everybody. There was a time the Bucks were losing to it didn't the Bucks were the team who everybody wanted to play. And again, you're just seeing good. You're seeing good team together ball. Doc Rivers said it before the game tonight. He said that he thought that Giannis's the post he had, the Wolf of Wall Street post, and the leaders, legends don't. What was it? Legends don't stray, they attract. Legends don't. What was it? Legends don't leave, they attract. I can't remember what it was. He said he thought that was that was a unifier. And maybe it was. And Eliza, I agree. There were wide open bricks. There were a ton of wide. That's what I'm saying. The shots were there for the most part. And then I think, like you said, hitting shots are contagious. Missing shots can be contagious. We'll talk about hitting shots being contagious. There was one point, I believe it was in the third quarter, where Bobby hit it ended up being a deep two, but it was almost a three. And I looked at Rick Carlisle because the Bucks had a little momentum, and I looked over and Rick gave the signal to keep going, wanting to play through it. And I don't know if it was a block or another rebound or whatever. They missed, and Bobby came right down, top of the key, 3-ball, and he had to call time. Now, it was just funny to me because that was one where, they probably should have called a timeout, and Rick wanted to let him play through it, and then Bobby comes down and gives you a heat check 3 to force the timeout. So again, it was a good job all the way around from the Milwaukee Bucks. Mark Gomes, a good question. He says, right, so and again, I'm not keeping up with everything in chat, but he says, why does Giannis have to change the way he plays? I'll tell you why. Because even if Giannis gets guys wide open shots, and I'm not saying change. I'm not saying drastically change. Again, we know Giannis is a great player, so again, keep it within within the bounds of play here. What I'm saying is, guys don't always okay. Let's do it like this. In football, right? If a wide receiver doesn't get it, let's say I'm not even talking about a diva wide receiver, a really good wide. You're a number one wideout. The game plan, for whatever reason, he hadn't got the ball in the first half. He doesn't have any. You don't have any attempts going his way. In the second half, it would probably behoove you to throw a screen to him. It would probably behoove you to get that guy involved in some type of way because you want them involved in the offense. What I'm saying is, if your only involvement in the offense is standing around ready to shoot, and your only involvement is getting a kick out 3-ball, you may not be as engaged. It may be tougher for you to play within a flow. And remember, well, I get that's what I see, but again, but my question is that everybody's strength? Is everybody's strength just standing around and waiting on Giannis to get them an open 3? I don't know that it is. And so again, I don't want this to sound like I'm dissing Giannis at all. I'm just again, I do think everybody's open to some type of criticism. But what I'm saying is, if you're standing around looking for threes, and that's all you're doing, remember when Giannis goes out of the game, and now we're asking you to run offense, and Giannis been out there for 10 minutes, and y'all ain't ran nothing. And 8 of those 10 have everybody just standing around waiting on Giannis to throw him a pass. Now we get into the game, and Giannis goes out, and boom, they're on the run because you don't have a Giannis anymore to fall back on. So now you got to play a whole different style when Giannis goes out. And that's what I'm getting at. Again, I'm not saying completely. I'm just saying you have to do no, it says you are dissing. I think you're taking this way, way, way too literally. What I'm saying is I watch the way they play tonight. They have to mimic more of that when Giannis is on the court. That's what I'm saying. The way they played over the last couple games. Remember we were saying Doc's offense is archaic. And no, where's the ball move? Where's the move? That's what we kept. Here's the thing. That's what we kept saying. Where's the movement? Why is nobody moving? And then you look at it, and teams do this at times when their stars out. Now you have an opportunity to sit back and look and go, well, that's what it should look like when Giannis is in. That's more of what it should look like. Now, again, for perfect example, when Bobby comes in, there are times where you just dump it down to Bobby and let Bobby go to work. And those end up in buckets. Sometimes more than not. But I hope that's again. I know a couple people didn't, or maybe not understand what I'm saying. But all I'm saying is when Giannis is in the game, it's got to look closer to that versus what we see sometimes where we go, Giannis is the only one scoring here. Giannis is the only one doing any of the action here, and that doesn't always work. I do agree the fast breaks got to get better, and the reason you aren't getting fast breaks is because you can't secure rebounds. To get a fast break going, you got it. Here, you know what the biggest stopper of a fast break opportunity is? Having to take the ball out of bounds because you couldn't secure a rebound, and now they got a second chance bucket, and now you're standing out of bounds line trying to get back up the court. We got to get rebounds. So tonight it was a great example of it, and I thought I thought it was good tonight. That's all I was saying. Really was I thought the Milwaukee Bucks moved the ball, they played within themselves, and you saw what it looked like when it did get tight, when guys were missing shots. They stopped moving the ball. And again, they had to get it back, but they got it back with a Rollins bucket, with KPJ, with all of those good things. Again, I was also impressed with the effort tonight, and I won't be long. It's just me. But I was impressed with the effort. I thought they went after loose balls. I thought again, effort was in the rebounding. You just saw a lot of guys that made plays and made winning plays. Basically, everybody that got in. I thought they played well. And that's what you need. Contributions from everybody, from every single person. Elijah James says, Drew Holiday, Middleton, those dudes moved constantly. Yeah, but again, Chris, well, again, Drew got to play a lot of point. And again, the other thing is Drew is a better player. Chris Middleton's a better player. So you have to recognize guys' strengths too. So those were you had better talent on those teams as well, and I think you trust those guys a little more to make some of those plays. The last Quincy comes and says Giannis should play a little more within the offense and not be the whole offense by dominating the ball. So at least somebody gets what I'm saying. And again, I promise you, it's not a negative on Giannis. It really isn't. It really isn't. It's just saying these guys are a little different. So you have to play the game a little different. That's really all I'm getting at. You want me to tell you a guy who does a really great job of moving the ball and didn't play tonight? Kyle Kuzma. And I know he's the scapegoat and he's terrible and he makes some bonehead stupid decisions all the time. But when Kuzma brings it up, now whether he makes a bad play or not, there are so many times where he's not looking to score. He's really not looking to score. He's looking, how can we move the ball here? And again, he's not the best ball handler, he's not the best passer, he's not the best at any of those things, but it's the mindset and mentality that he has. He's trying to initiate and run offense. I think Ryan Rollins tries to initiate and run offense a little bit better than KP, because I think when you look at KPJ, he can get to dribbling. He really can. So that's where we're on. Elijah, you say you don't get it. I can't help you anymore if you're not getting it. So I don't know what to tell you. Let's see. King Kings, I don't understand why Giannis don't like running pick and roll. And Chris isn't here, so I mean that's a moot point anyway. Again, that's another thing. I think Giannis just doesn't like doing it. He's mentioned before he doesn't really like it. So I think he could be better. I think he'd be one of the best pick and rollers in the game if he wanted to do it. He's just mentioned that's not part of it. I don't think he likes doing that to a high degree. Get back. 404 Dex says dope mic. I appreciate it. Appreciate it on the mic. I want to get to let's keep rolling here. Bucks have won 3 in a row. And they're feeling good. You got a couple more games coming up against Orlando and then OKC. I think Giannis will make his return in one of those 3 games. And again, if you can split and get yourself to winning 5 of the last 6 going into the All-Star break, I don't know. Wondering what they do with the buyout market if they want to be in a buyout market. I think that more than ever now that the Bucks waive Nigel Hayes, I think Pete Nance will get a standard contract, but I'm guessing they're gonna waive. Let me say this: they could waive Andre Jackson Jr. if they want to get another player and they think can play and help. I think they may do that. Who knows if it's gonna? I know somebody said Cam Johnson. Who knows if it's gonna be somebody like that? It could be a Chris Middleton. If Chris Middleton wants to come back and do that, we'll see. But I think they'll get somebody else in here, and then they'll also get Pete Nance. Pete Nance has to get a standard contract. He's just been good enough to do that. I did want to pivot to do you see this? I thought it was Kalshi, but it's Kalshi. Do you guys think? I wish JT and Chris and Justin were here for this one. Do you guys think that? So Giannis then announced today that that he's partnering with Kalshi, and that's the sports. It's like a predictability, outcome-driven gambling thing website. I don't use it, so I don't really know. Again, here's the thing, and a lot of people were upset about it. But because I think they think it's a shame. Here's the thing: if you're using Kalshi, that's on you, brother. You need to call the hotline if you're on Kalshi, okay? But what did you guys think about Giannis joining that? I get partnering with investing in Kalshi. I don't know if he's an investor. I don't know if he's just doing a brand marketing deal. I don't know. But what did you think of that? Because a lot of people were saying, again, so Shams had his narrative. Giannis was always coming out saying, I'm not going anywhere, whatever. Then he said is that he don't know what his agent's doing. A lot of people are saying that they think that Giannis was potentially manipulating the market, and this was all a sham, a ruse for him to then come out a day after the trade deadline. The timing was impeccable here. He comes out a day after the trade deadline and says, and is now a partner with Kalshi. And I will say it is very suspect, very odd. If Giannis wasn't a Milwaukee Buck, I would probably have some harsher comments about it. But he is a Milwaukee Buck, and I'm glad, so I think it's hilarious. But again, if you're looking at it for the 30,000-foot view, the obvious thought is, oh, he just played this up, and a bunch of people, I think they said there were $23 million that ended up being lost on people betting on Giannis to go other places on that website. Could he have played that up a little bit and, again, trolled everybody into thinking there was more going on with him potentially leaving versus not? Elijah James says, if inside reports can move markets and shape narratives, investing one puts him closer to the source of that power. No, it does. It does. I think the question is it's like if the national anthem singer for the Super Bowl, you know how they have these national anthem, is it going to run 1:30 or whatever the time is? Well, if I'm the singer, I'm going to hold Land of the Free out and know that I could put $1 million. I could literally put $1 million on that bet and just run it. How do you regulate that? But yes, we know that insider reports do move the markets. That again, I got in on. I won a sizable amount of money. I paid a couple bills this month off Giannis staying in Milwaukee. So I was just on the right side of this thing. But and I did mine on Robinhood. But oh well. But yeah, like that. It's kind of it is interesting that's the route he took, and I just wonder if again, I don't know anything for certain, but I think it is interesting that's what he came out and did. And yeah, a lot of people are feeling away. I think it's because he's an active player. I think that's the big thing about it, that people are feeling away about. But again, all's fair to me. Again, they talk. You get those calls, those emails to the Nigerian scammers. I don't know. I probably shouldn't say that, but I'm on here by myself. Solo grew at 11:30 at night. Bucks win 105-99. And yeah, we'll see how that turned out. But again, this one got a little close tonight. Probably a little closer to comfort. But I'll say this: I was actually, and again, because I'm so indifferent, not to whether the Bucks win or they lose. It's to me, it's all good. I'm not necessarily saying we're not playing with house money, but losing isn't a bad result to me. Winning isn't a bad result to me. I'm always going to root for us to win, but I'm not going to be mad if the Bucks lose. But what I did like tonight, even though I would have loved to have a stress-free evening, and it still was relatively stress-free, and win by 20 and blow out Indiana just for good old times. I thought it was I was impressed that Indiana. This is a game, especially without Giannis, that you could have seen the Bucks wilter and fall apart and lose a 20-point lead in the fourth quarter. I think they were up 20 in the fourth, 18, something like that. And you could have easily, the Bucks could have easily fell down and died and let go of the rope when Nembhard wouldn't stop it. Remember, that's basically what happened in the playoffs. It's basically what happened in the playoffs. They couldn't, like, Indiana got it rolling, and there was nothing the Bucks could do. And so I was impressed. This thing got to a 4-point game, and Ryan Rollins settled things down. And then KPJ settled things down. And once those things got settled down, the Bucks then finished the game out. Some really good efforts tonight from your Milwaukee Bucks. I enjoyed it. DM Rose, I agree. You want to see Jane get some run? We talked about that. I don't know if you're here earlier, start of this. I agree. I wanted to see Jane get some run as well. But again, I think it was just smart for Doc Rivers not to put him in that situation at all, and giving him an opportunity to grow with the team a little bit from a practice standpoint and from a familiarity standpoint before you throw him out there into the den. Again, this is when you look at it, the Bucks aren't tanking. So throwing him out there, I'm not saying that means you're tanking, but throwing him out there to the Wolves and saying whatever happens, happens is kind of more indicative of I don't care what the end result is, and we know that the Bucks care and Giannis cares. So again, you have to? I think of everything now in the lens of what signal is this giving to Giannis about where they are? Are you in development mode? Because if that's the case, you throw out Andre Jackson Jr., you throw out Pete Nance for instead of 18 minutes, Pete Nance is getting 30, and you're just letting Ryan Rollins and KPJ and all the guys are going to be there, and potentially you want to find out what they got. Jane, you let them roll. And that's just not how they went. Elijah says the game, I don't know about it. Blowing the 20-point lead was something. Jang isn't experienced enough with our rivalry to be tossed into that. Right? Yeah, I agree. Let's see. They also, I don't know what we're at. Talking about they don't want to. Chat might be moving a little too fast for me. I don't know what we're talking about on the extension piece. But it's interesting. Last point, and then like I said, we're not gonna be here long tonight. Just me, solo guru tonight. It's interesting to listen to the pundits still talk. I heard Michelle Beadle. What a loser Michelle Beadle is. What a joke, Michelle. So she was defending Shams. I don't know if you saw this. She has a little stupid show on. Is it? I don't even know what is it? Is it like FanDuel Sports Network? I know I have a little. This is just a YouTube show, so who am I to say anybody in the media has a stupid show? But for the caliber of person she is, she's on FanDuel Network doing whatever the hell she's doing, and I think she's jealous because she can't get back on ESPN. I think she's jealous of Stephen A. Smith. I think she's jealous because her show Sports Nation is no longer. She's really not relevant anymore. She's no longer relevant. And Michelle Beadle is basically like, she thought the Giannis stuff was stupid, the jokes that he made. I was listening to Amin El Hassan, and I think it was like Nate Duncan on NBA radio this afternoon, and they were all upset and pissy because of this whole, Giannis making jokes and the Bucks making jokes, and the Bucks basically coming out full force against Shams. TA and Giannis dropped their podcast on Thanalysis, and Thanalysis was basically like, we are the source. What do you mean you have sources? The sources is Giannis. So that's kind of they are going full force out against Shams. And so you have members of the media. Again, I think it's driven by an ulterior motive. I know for a fact, I believe it's driven by an ulterior motive because they all want Giannis to leave, and they're not getting what they want, so they're upset about it. But now it's funny how everybody wanted Giannis, and now that he's leaving, it's not funny anymore. Oh, nothing's funny now. It ain't funny to make jokes now because Giannis is still there, and they're discrediting Shams. Shams got the information from somewhere, and I'm glad it's the weekend. It was a Friday news dump for the Kalshi stuff because I know for a fact this is the middle of the week. They would have gone off on the fact that Giannis has joined Kalshi, the betting place. But I thought it was just interesting that everywhere you look and everywhere you listen, they are just so sure that in the summer, they're so sure that in the summer, it's over. Giannis is leaving. You can laugh. Milwaukee Bucks fans can laugh now. You'll be crying in the summer. He's going to leave. He's going to leave. And I believe it's driven by the fact that you look at the assets and you go, can they put together a winner that Giannis would be happy about? And that's what I'll ask you that before we get to Twitter and start to wrap. So we got past the trade deadline. I was always around 70-30, 75-25, Giannis is going to stay. The thought process now from the think tank media is there's no way the Bucks can convince Giannis that they can put another team around him that can compete for a championship and get him to sign 4 years, $275. That's the thought. The thought is they're looking at all your guys, AJ Green, Ryan Rollins, Miles Turner, KPJ, he's not under contract, Bobby Portis, Kyle Kuzma. You'll have three tradable picks at this draft, and their thought process is there's no way the Bucks can pull magic out of a hat again, a rabbit out of a hat, and figure out a way to make this team competitive enough to win the East and compete for a championship. Now in reality, it's a fair question. It is a very fair question because if you notice, I was talking with my dad earlier today. If you notice, since 2021, really since when you traded Drew Holiday, the returns on, like, and I mentioned earlier, robbing Peter to pay Paul, the returns have not been as good because, right, you traded Drew Holiday and you were able to get back Damian Lillard, which everybody loved. And that was okay. They've rewritten it again, and Giannis is geared up, signed on to play. Well, now the Dame thing didn't work. It didn't work. Whether you want to blame injuries, that's neither here nor there. But you're at a point now where the return for Damian Lillard was, well, before you get to Damian Lillard, you got Dame. And then the return for Chris Middleton was Kyle Kuzma. That was your return. So you're getting, it's exciting when you can move Drew Holiday for Damian Lillard. Not as exciting when you move Chris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma. And then the return on Damian Lillard, when the Damian Lillard experiment didn't work because of injury, the return there was Miles Turner. Going back, it's exciting when you can trade Drew Holiday and the return is Damian Lillard. Not as exciting when you trade Damian Lillard, waive and stretch Damian Lillard, and the return is Miles Turner. So the point is, the further and further you kick the can down the road, the less and less you're getting back if you're looking to gear your team up. And now you look at a team where the bottom is kind of falling off. Now, getting Giannis has been hurt, but the bottom is kind of falling out. And, yeah, you're on the outside of the play-in, 50 games into the season. And so the question, and again, like you said, it's a fair question, Mark. The question is, how are you able to improve this team when the assets you have to move forward is, and again, I know nobody wants to trade Ryan Rollins, and he's good, but I'm just going your assets. Are you calling Kyle Kuzma? Because that's the guy, bro. Kyle Kuzma and Bobby Portis, those are the guys you're moving. Are they really assets? Maybe Bobby is somewhat. Kyle Kuzma, I don't think he's an asset. Miles Turner, how much of an asset is he? I'd argue he's probably less of an asset than Drew Holiday, and he's less of an asset than Damian Lillard. How much can you actually get back for those guys? And if you're looking at it, to me, the true assets you have, which you'd have a lot of people say, no way in hell would I move those guys, is Ryan Rollins, who's under a great contract, and AJ Green. But you kind of want those guys to build around because they're young. AJ Green can shoot, space the floor. Ryan Rollins, you know what he can do, and who knows if he takes another step and becomes an even more impactful player. So my point is, it is a very fair question. Can you do it again? And I think a lot of that answer is going to depend on where do the ping pong balls fall. Is this a top 10 pick the Bucks are going to have? Is it a top 5 pick? How impactful is it? And I think that answer is unknown. But I will say, if anybody can do it, John Horse. As much as anybody hates John Horse, and you have questions about John Horse and what John Horse does and what he drafts, he has accomplished mission A. And mission A, if there was a list of if there's a to-do list on his contract in his goals for the year, you set your goals for your year, you set your, when you go to work for your 2025, 2026, here's your goal. If your goal is keep Giannis, he's accomplished that. He's done it. And so that's why I have full faith and confidence, hopefully, that he will be able to do it again. But that's another conversation for another day. Bucks win 105-99. They keep this thing rolling, and they're well on their way, at least in some respects, to playing some winning basketball. And we'll see how that turns out. Let me see. Oh, I missed a super chat. Dustin Wagner says all we have to do is get Robin to GA's Batman. Who is it? I think would you argue that they thought that the Robin this year was going to be Miles Turner? That hadn't worked. That hadn't worked. Mark Gomes says y'all have no perspective on what dudes make in the league versus their production. Bobby's 100% coveted by contenders. Okay, Mark, they've tried to trade him 3 years in a row. They've wanted to trade him 3 years in a row. Now, maybe you can make that argument this year, but it clearly has not been, that sentiment clearly has not been shared by the rest of the league. We know for a fact, I'm now sure they were shopping him this year too. We know for a fact that they were shopping him last year. Remember, there were talks. The biggest deal that didn't happen was this reported trade for Grant Williams, and that was going to be the return. And would you have done a 1-to-1? That was at least, I don't know what else was involved in that, but the real big was Grant Williams. So again, they've tried to trade him for 3 years in a row. They have not felt that they have gotten a return that they would be comfortable with. So I hear you saying that, but I don't know that that's true around the league. I don't know. King says Michael Porter Jr. was the Robin. I don't know that either. I really don't. Again, I like Michael Porter Jr. I got a feeling that he turns into what he was in Denver. Good player, but again, what you're seeing in Brooklyn, we talked about this before, what you're seeing in Brooklyn, he's not going to have that freedom. And that goes back to what I was talking about how you play. The way we were playing with Giannis, so go back to what we just talked about. The way we were playing with Giannis, I'm telling you what Michael Porter Jr. was going to be doing. He was going to be standing around waiting on three-point shots. Not exactly how free he's been playing in Brooklyn. That's what he's going to be doing. Standing and trying to hit set threes all game long. Occasional drive to the basket. But that would have been his shot diet. And again, I don't know. I don't know if that works. I'm talking about as far as a real Robin on a good team. I know that the skill Michael Porter Jr. has. He can play some bad. I don't know that he's gonna get that same freedom and opportunity. Dustin Wagner says MPJ ain't the Robin either. Now, I kind of think if MPJ is your third best player, you got something cooking. I don't know if he's your second, you might be falling just a tad bit short. All right, let's see what we're talking about on Twitter. I got to get to it, and I don't have anybody that can filibuster for me while I do it. So I got to filibuster just a tad bit here and try and get to this. Let's see. All right, here we go. Let's see what they're talking about on the Twitter. At Will Lindquist says, Bucks look good. Glad they got 3 in a row, but what a game. Go Bucks. MK Bucks 91 says, I know everyone wants to tank, but Giannis is pissed. Let's get this man to the playoffs. Let him work. Replicate that 2023 Miami Heat magic. Similar situations with a disgruntled Butler, a ton of injuries, but they put it together to end the year. Let's go get this. Robbie Digital just says hashtag fear the deer with the Kevin Garnett GIF in there. Sunk 345 says, dare I say it, Rollins is on a Middleton trajectory. I think he can reach that level as a player. Let's pause there. Sunk 345 says, dare I say it, Rollins is on a Middleton trajectory. I think he can reach that level as a player. Chris Middleton was the second best player on a championship team. He is the top 5 player in Bucks history, give or take. Rollins is on a middle trajectory. Is he a top 5 player? So I'm just trying to get that straight. Do we think he has the potential to be a top 5 player in Bucks history? 40-point NBA Finals game. A guy that Giannis deferred to at the close of games. I like Rollins. I'm not ready to go there. Middleton was probably in his prime a tier away from being able to lead his own franchise. That's how good Middleton was in his prime. He was a tier away from, like I said, I would never give him a max deal, say you're the top dog on my team, let's run and see if we can go. But he was close to that. It's close to that. I slow down a little bit on Rollins. I like him, but Rollins had to make another jump to get to that level. So I love Rollins too, but let's not discredit. I know y'all say that I discredit Chris a lot. Let's not go there just yet. Porke no goo. He says let's do 4. He wants 4 in a row. Sunk345 comes back in and says KPJ is a winning player. I don't know why a lot of Bucks fans hate on him. I know why. He says he makes mistakes, but who doesn't? I think he and Rollins need to be part of the Bucks' future, and in 3 or 4 years, they can really become something. I'd agree with that. Again, and we know why people don't like Ryan Rollins. KPJ. It's because of the off-the-court stuff. If you're being realistic and honest with yourself, KPJ can play basketball. He over-dribbles a little, can get turnover happy at times. Maybe not always a 3-point shooter the way you'd like, as consistent as he can be from beyond the arc. But he can contribute to winning. There's no question about it. Dustin Waddish is honestly at the same age. Rollins and Middleton are comparable. Yeah, but the difference is the other thing Middleton had over Ryan Rollins. Again, I like Ryan Rollins. The other thing Middleton had was he had the prototypical size from these wings that became that are so coveted right now. What's Middleton, 6'7"? That's, that there's a little bit difference as far as archetype of a player as well. But again, you are looking at Ryan Rollins, and again, they're playing better now, but you're looking at Ryan Rollins and how he's played on a team. He's also not playing with Giannis. He didn't play as good with Giannis as he's playing right now without him. But we'll see. Again, listen, your lips to God's ears. I promise you, I would love that to be the case. I would love for that to be the case. Mark Gomes says Middleton on a vet minimum would do it in a heartbeat. I probably would too. But just be honest though, Middleton in the buyout market, Middleton's not he's not that good of a player anymore. Just be honest. He can still hit shots. Every now and then he can step you into his office and get in that short corner and look like prime Middleton every maybe 3, 4, 5 times a game, but not near with the consistency, and defensively he's falling off a cliff. So and he has injury concerns as well. So I'm just saying, if they were to do that, don't get your hopes up like Middleton's about to come in and save the season. I can assure you he's not. Can assure you he's not going to do that. But it would be a fun story. Ryan99 says, finally won 3 in a row. Can a man dream about making the play-in? And also, no sirs. No sirs on the Indiana Pacers. There you go. Let's do a couple more here. At Miggy_Woods said, love seeing AJ Green putting the ball on the floor, creating his own shot, taking the next step, evolving his game. I love it too. And last one, at Red Crayon 27 says, Porter has got to figure out his 3-ball, but if he does, he's a real deal high-level starter. Rollins, great game to stick through. Green, aggressive. I hate what Doc does with the bigs, though. What do you hate he does with the bigs? I don't get that one. The only thing I say about the big, I think they get more into the paint a little bit more. I would love that. Because Miles Turner on the perimeter, he just I get scared every time he has the ball out there. Yeah, I don't know. You say you want to see him do. I guess yeah, you could do more pick and roll. I'd love to play a little more back to the basket when you have a small on you. But again, he doesn't play. He plays soft at times too, so I get why they don't do that. Lewis Fleming says, I keep getting Swain Jang. That's only it will save the season. Watch it. Not too late for the Bucks. I'd love it. I'd love it. Your lips to God's ears. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it if he can do that. All right, let's get to game balls tonight as we hasten to a close in a 105-99 victory for your Milwaukee Bucks over the Indiana Pacers. Solo Guru in tonight for everybody. Game ball. My game ball tonight is going to go to a guy we have not given it to all year. I could go KPJ. I could go Rollins. I'm going to go Jericho Sims tonight, game ball. 4 points, 15 rebounds. That's been the story of the season, has been not being able to rebound, not being able to defend at a high level. How many times have you heard me say on this program, dirty work? I like guys that do the dirty work. Jericho Sims did a ton of dirty work tonight. Had 4 points, but he did the dirty work. And that's what I like to see. Somebody playing with an edge doing dirty work. 4 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, 2 of 3, didn't press, no turnovers. Jericho Sims gets my game ball. Jericho Sims, a.k.a. Mr. Dirty Work, a.k.a. I'm a light-skinned assassin, a.k.a. call me Big Swole. Call me Big Swole. James Moore says Chris Jericho, Walls of Jericho, all that stuff showing up tonight for your Milwaukee Bucks. Let's see what happened tonight in the association. Trailblazers up over the Grizzlies right now. The Clippers by 13. Clippers in the third quarter on prime, up by 5 over the Kings. The Kings are an absolute mess. The Celtics, I think, came back from down 20 to beat the Heat. I heard there was a problem with Spo and Bam Adebayo. I don't know if that's true or what exactly happened there. I think that's been interesting to see how Spo's had an issue with Khalil Ware, had an issue with Bam Adebayo. I don't know. Pistons beat the Knicks tonight, 118-80. My goodness, that's a big time score. Brunson played 12 points. Wow. Mikal Bridges, 19 points. No Cat though. Okay. Let me see what happened in Detroit. Only 11 and 7 from Cunningham, at 15 from Tobias Harris. They just beat the brakes off New York. Pelicans beat the Timberwolves tonight. Is somebody out for the T-Wolves? No. Anthony Edwards had 35. Julius Randle 24. Gobert 12 and 16. But Zion Williamson with 29 and 4. Sadiq Bey with 30 points. 28 for Trey Murphy tonight. He shot 60% from 3 tonight, Trey Murphy. So that's interesting. But the Pelicans beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. I thought Zion had 29 points. I thought Zion could have done. I was talking earlier. So I thought Zion could have been much more aggressive last night against the Bucks or Wednesday night. So rather, but that's it. That's everything going on. Super Bowl on Sunday. I thought we didn't have everybody here to make predictions. I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks tonight. Not tonight, on Sunday. The Patriots haven't proven it to me. Haven't played enough. I think it's going to be a good game, even though I'm not intrigued by the matchup. I'm really not. When I say not intrigued by the matchup, I'm not intrigued by the storylines as much this year. Drake May versus Sam Darnold. Again, it's gonna be a battle of defenses and really who makes mistakes. But I do think it's gonna be a really good game. And I do think the Seahawks are going to pull it out. I just think their defense is too good. And I think Drake May, again, he hasn't played a game of this magnitude, and Sam Darnold. But I think the experience prevails here, and Drake's have to wait just a little bit more time to get this thing rolling. But again, it should be a fun one. Should be a fun one out in Santa Clara, right? Yeah. Trying to think. I'll still wait to do the Shingun stuff. That was wow. Did you see him? He called the lady official the B word. No place in it. And she was absolutely right to kick him out of the game. Here's my only point. I'll do it. Here's my only point on this. Number one, again, She was correct in kicking his ass out of the game. You can't do that. You can't do it. But this is not the problem, but this is what can happen when, and again, guys just got to adjust. But this is how many times have people call somebody the B word on the court? I think people do it all the time. I think people say it all the time. I think people, they get upset and guys' emotions are running high. Thought he got fouled, and that's what they do. And Dustin's calling her a soft ref. Again, I'm not going to sit here and say that she's got to allow herself to be degraded and disrespected. So I'm okay. Again, I'm okay with her throwing him out. I'll just say that, my whole thing there is, and it shouldn't happen, but these guys, they go out, they get upset, they curse out officials, they get upset, they use certain language, they do it. And I'm sure he said that to male officials too. But yeah, they're in the space, and so what you're doing is asking the players to react differently in their space. And whether that's right or wrong, that's a different story. But now again, I would say he's there. You just can't do it at the end of the day. You can't do it. But I'm not saying I understand it. But again, he was upset. He's frustrated. And he let his emotions get the best of him. I'm glad I didn't see some people calling for a suspension. I'm glad that didn't happen. But that's just interesting that's the route. That happened. And again, I think they were right to kick him out. Trying to think anything else coming to mind. Nah, I ain't got nothing. So anyway, Bucks win it tonight, 105-99 over the Indiana Pacers. Let me see. James Moore says Bucks play against the Magic on Monday night on the, what is that? Oh, what are we on? Oh, we're on the cock. We're on the cock Monday night against the against the Magic. Okay. Says, thank goodness listening to Lisa and Marcus is a snore. Is Marcus I will definitely. Marcus has definitely lost a step. There's no question about it. I still like listening to Marcus. He has lost a bit of a step in his. Again, he's not as bad as Johnny Mack when he ended was really in the tank. But and I like Johnny Mack, but he was really. And I think it was cool that what's his name finished kind of. He was still good. Paschke was still good, so he left before he had to get kicked out. But yeah, Justin Rinsey, there you go, Justin. Solid win tonight, stuck in ATL on the way to Magic City. There you go, enjoy yourself. Justin, I know he's 70, I know it, and every now and then you gotta let it go. Did you see Denzel sitting courtside at the Lakers game? Denzel looked every bit of 72. Nothing wrong with it. Again, that's a good thing. It should be celebrated when you get up in age. I'm glad we lose people way far too soon. So I'm glad that Marcus Johnson's 70 and still doing things he loves. And I'm looking forward to the birthday dunk. I'd love to see him do it at the practice facility though, because I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that raggedy goal he got outside his crib is 10 feet. I'm not convinced that it's a full 10 feet over there. That's all I'm saying. But it's impressive. 9.5 is impressive. It just ain't 10. But I would love to see him. I think there's a reason he does it outside his house and he don't do it at the facility. But again, getting up there is impressive, and happy birthday to Marcus Johnson. Again, I think he does a good job. He's not as sharp as he used to be. That's all. But again, he's 70 years old, so I get it. James Moore says Donald Trump is, I don't know how old, but he's out there. But he's out here in TV. Yeah, the Donald Trump. I wasn't gonna even say anything about Trump. But since you led me down the pathway, I mean, come on, man. At this point, like what did Tyler Perry play say? When people show you who they are, believe them. We've known this about Donald Trump, and the funny thing for me, Trump does what Trump does, and we know who he is. So it is what it is. Again, that doesn't. The Trump stuff he did, posting that video with the Obamas depicted as monkeys, and then trying to live the Lion King, or apes. I ain't seen an ape in the Lion King. So, Donald Trump to me, he is what Mike Singletary say. They are who we thought that. No, that was Dennis Green said they are who we thought they were. So he's who I thought he was. So I'm not going there on that because there's nothing about that surprises me. But what is always interesting is that party, they how they go so hard to back him up on all the BS. Like the stuff that happened in Minnesota, and he's so quick to. The funny thing, I think the most hilarious thing is how quick he is to flip, because they were all, oh, this person agitated, and then Trump sees the video, and he's like, we might have made some mistakes here. And now they have to backtrack because, Trump said something different. Now I got to do this. So today they start this whole thing about the picture. They said, well, it was a staffer. Oh, it was a staffer who posted it. Staffer, and now you got it. And so what's happening is they were like, you know what? Maybe they should fire the staffer because the staffer. And they asked Trump. Trump said, oh yeah, I saw it. I posted it. I saw it. Oh, well now you can't. Well, you can't ask for somebody else to get fired for that. Now can you? So I just think it's hilarious how they have to switch up every single time, no matter what he says. You have to change, the whole perception, because you never know what he's doing. Now, I did think it was funny. They asked him. I think he was on tarmac or something. They asked him. Because his whole thing was Biden had no clue what he was doing. Like he made this clip. Biden never knows what's going on, and his whole this gaffe here, if you want to call it that, was he didn't know that was, he saw the video, thought it was funny, and he didn't watch the whole thing, allegedly, or whatever. And so they started asking, well, you accuse Biden of not knowing things. So what does this say about you? You don't know what's going on. He cut it was hilarious. You guys would listen to the clip. He cuts the guy. I was like, I know everything better than you. He's a funny guy. But anyway. Dustin Wagner says the same thing on both sides, which sucks for us as citizens, was all the same with Sleepy Joe and walking off things he said. Yeah, the only thing is, I never, sure, might not have been as alert as he always was. I never thought, Joe's gonna do some racist stuff here. I never got that from Sleepy Joe. And again, I'm not gonna lie, I think he was on a little autopilot there for a little bit. But I never saw stuff like that. It is funny though that people wanted to Joe Biden, I'll say this and I'll leave. Joe Biden did this thing where people thought he was super he was kind of seen as a moderate, and then he got in, he was actually kind of liberal, but he came off as very moderate, and he did a lot of liberal policies that actually got through, and things that he was trying to do. So it was just interesting that was the narrative on him is one thing, and what he actually did was a little bit different. But Dustin says, nah, Joe is the we're not we're not gonna go with him sniffing people's hair and all that stuff. But anyway, all right, let's get out of here before we get a little too far. It is almost midnight on the East Coast. Appreciate you all for joining us tonight. Had some fun. I enjoyed it. Bucks get a win, 105-99 over the Pacers. Always fun talking to you guys. Yeah, I agree. It's not even a comparison. I think you're on my side there, unless you're on the other one. But where was I going? Again, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us tonight. And for that, we appreciate it. 105-99. See, that's why I love this program, right? How many times do you start off talking about the Bucks and we end on Joe Biden and Donald Trump? I guarantee you, no other post-game show went there with you. And I'm not. And let me make sure I'm not disparaging him. I'm just saying I don't think anybody would touch it with a 10-foot pole. We will. We ain't scared. We'll do whatever. We'll talk about whatever here. I wish JT and the guys had been here. He had some good comments on it too. But all right, it could have been in the world, but you're here with us tonight. We appreciate it. We appreciate it all times. Appreciate the super chat. Appreciate your commentary. Appreciate you on Twitter. Appreciate you on the YouTube. Rocking out with us tonight. 3-game win streak. We got 3 more games to go before the All-Star break. We want to see Giannis back. Appreciate you guys, James Moore, Dustin Wagner, King Kings, Indy, everybody, Will Lindquist, everybody listen and watches us every single night. Global Media Executive having fun with Miles Turner getting 10 rebounds. Eliza Jane, all you Mark Gomes, all you guys doing it. Jake Roby, not Jaker Obey. So again, we appreciate it. We'll see you as always. Make sure you hit that like button if you didn't hit it on the way in. Hit it on the way out. I lose my train of thought all the time. I know I have something to say. Oh yeah, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend about the cream. City Cry, hey, the best postgame show in all of the land. This has been the Cream City Media Group Dutch Front Group, sir. If I am your enemy, it's only because I dare to tell you the truth. Don't take no wood nickels.